and welcome to the presentation on the graphs. This is Vishwanath Rai, Assistant Professor English, Rangpur Government City College, Rangpur. In this presentation, I am going to show you how to analyze a bar graph. In this slide, you find a question. Let's read the question first. The graph shows the COVID-19 situations in Bangladesh. Now analyze the graph in at least 80 words. The graph is about the confirmed cases of COVID-19 and the graph covers a period. The period starts from April 2020 and the period ends in August 2020. If you want to analyze the graph, then you should have a plan and you should focus on these four things: introduction, overview, main features or body, and conclusion. You find here three structures. You can follow any one of the three structures. If you follow structure 1, then you will write introduction in paragraph 1, then you will write overview in the next paragraph, and you will write the main features or body and conclusion in another paragraph. And if you follow structure 2, then you will write the introduction in one paragraph and the rest things, main features or body and overview in conclusion, will be written in another paragraph. And if you follow the last or third structure, then you will write almost the same things as the structure 2. The only difference between structure 3 and structure 2 is that in structure 3 everything will be written in one paragraph. You can follow any one of the three structures. In this slide, I will show you how to write the introduction. In the introduction, you will just rewrite the question. You will paraphrase the question in the introduction, and here we find the question. Let's read the question first. The graph shows the COVID-19 situations in Bangladesh. The graph. This is a bar graph, and so instead of the graph, we can use the bar graph. Instead of the word shows, we can use presents, demonstrates, illustrates, or provides information about. We can use any one of the four. The COVID-19 situations in Bangladesh. Instead of this, we can use the conditions of coronavirus disease 2019 in Bangladesh. COVID-19 means coronavirus disease 2019. And in the graph, we have found that a period from April 2020 to August 2020. So we must mention this in the introduction. So we can write the introduction in this way. The bar graph provides information about the conditions of coronavirus disease 2019 in Bangladesh in a period from April 2020 to August 2020. In the introduction, there are 24 words. And now overview. In the overview, you will just mention the trends you find in the graph. This is the trend line. If you follow the trend line carefully, you will find that up to the peak, here we find the peak in June 2020. Up to the peak, the line is very steep. This means we find a high rate of growth, and after the peak we find the line slopes slowly or gradually. This means we find a slow decline of the number of confirmed cases. So we can write the overview in this way. The number of confirmed cases reached its peak at a high rate in June 2020 and gradually declined in the next 2 months. Now the main features or the body, and here you find the main features. In April 2020 we find 7,620 cases, and this is the lowest number. In May we find 39,486 confirmed cases, and this is almost 5 times or 500% of April 2020. In June we find the highest number, and the number is 98,330, and this is almost 250% of May 2020. In July we find 92,268, a slight decline, and in August we find 75,335, again a slight decrease or decline. So we can write the body in this way. The graph shows 7,620 lowest confirmed cases of COVID-19 in April 2020. In May it was 39,486, which is almost 500% of April. The number of confirmed cases reached its peak in June with cases 98,330, which is almost 250% of May. In July and August of the year, the numbers were 92,268 and 75,335 respectively. That suggests the gradual decrease of the number of cases. And in the body there are 66 words. Now, conclusion. In the conclusion, we will just repeat the trend we find. That is, we will rewrite the overview. We will write the overview or the trends in some other words, using some different words and phrases. And before the concluding sentence, we should write a phrase like this. From the data, it is quite clear that. You can use this phrase or some other phrases like this before the concluding sentence. So here I have just repeated the trends as we find in the overview, but of course using some different words and phrases. From the data, it is quite clear that the confirmed cases went up rapidly till the peak and then started declining slowly, and there are 22 words in the conclusion. So this is the complete answer. The bar graph provides information about the conditions of coronavirus disease 2019 in Bangladesh in a period from April 2020 to August 2020. The number of confirmed cases reached its peak at a high rate in June 2020 and gradually declined in the next 2 months. The graph shows 7,620 lowest confirmed cases of COVID-19 in April 2020. In May, it was 39,486, which is almost 500% of April. The number of confirmed cases reached its peak in June with cases 98,330, which is almost 250% of May. In July and August of the year, the numbers were 92,268 and 75,335 respectively. That suggests the gradual decrease of the number of cases. From the data, it is quite clear that the confirmed cases went up rapidly till the peak and then started declining slowly. And there are 135 words in the complete answer. So my dear students, following the technique I have used here, you can also write an ideal answer. You know, in the question you have been told to write 80 words, and here in the answer at least 80 words, and here in the answer you find 135 words. So this is an ideal size, you can say. And I am repeating the main points again. First, you should know the things you will develop in the answer. I have told you of the 4 things there: introduction, overview, main features, and conclusion. In the introduction, you will just rewrite the question. You will just paraphrase the question. In the overview, you will mention the trends you find in the graph. In the in the body or the main features, you will mention the key points. And if you write the conclusion differently, then if you follow the structure 1, in that case you will rewrite the trends in the conclusion, and before the concluding sentence you will use a phrase like this. From the data it is quite clear that. So my dear students, in this way you yourself can write an ideal answer for any graph. That's all today. Thank you very much.